Now, the Gender-Based Violence and Femicide Response Fund is recording incredible progress in the fight against gender-based violence. The fund, which was launched by President Cyril Ramaphosa in 2021, has supported over 17,000 survivors in the first 4 months of its operations. The fund is a private sector-led initiative aimed at raising financial and non-financial resources and allocating them to high-impact organizations already working to tackle the prevention of gender-based violence and femicide. Now, let's get an update and discuss the work that the fund is doing. I'm joined by its chairperson now, Dr. Judy Dlamini, via Zoom from Johannesburg. Dr. Dlamini, good afternoon. Welcome to today. Thank you very much for your time here on eNCA. The fund was launched in February 2021. I guess there was a lot of preparation and setting it up took quite some time, but you've made good progress.
Good afternoon, Dan. Good afternoon to your viewers. Thanks for having me. Oh, yes, it took a lot of work, a lot of time, but we had a lot of help from the presidency, from the IWFSA, especially the president of that organization, Madam President Irene Chanley. Yes, look, we've just touched the surface, Dan, but it is so encouraging, and it actually galvanizes us to do more, to see just what has happened in the past 4 months.
Yes. Now, this report that you've issued in terms of your of the past year shows that the response from the public in terms of donations has not been very, very high. Were you surprised by that? Would you want the public to contribute more?
Oh, yes. The need is so high, you know. As you can see there, we've been able to get pledges of 164 million rand. At the beginning of time when we started, we're looking at about 1 billion, 1.5 billion. But, you know, we are very hopeful that now that we released our integrated annual report, and now that we're starting to show the work that has come from the community-based organizations, which are at the coalface, you know, in grassroots, we are hopeful that the donors will start giving more resources to this. As I was saying earlier on somewhere else, that GBVF is the first pandemic because it predates COVID-19, and it affects women and children, and that is the biggest group in our society. And any self-respecting society respects its women. We are hoping as a fund that through the interventions, through partners, through directly investing in the CBOs, we will be able to turn the tide and eradicate the scourge, because it doesn't reflect well on us. And there is no way that we can flourish as society if we don't take care of our women and children.
One of the biggest challenges with any kind of intervention in communities is, one, making sure you get the right partners who are going to assist you in implementing your goals, because you are funding them and they need to deliver properly, and then monitoring and evaluation. When you look at the kind of partners that you've currently started with in this in funding and what they are doing, are you satisfied?
It's early days, Dan, but it's very promising. If I can just go to that, because that's very important. One of the challenges we have in this country is that you have a lot of grassroots organizations that don't have visibility, they don't have access to fund, but the work that they do is amazing, which is what informed us going for 108 eventually instead of 110 the CBOs, but also for intermediaries, because the intermediaries have visibility, have the know-how, and the back office to assist those small organizations that can't get figured, but the intermediaries are able to assist. So for us, it was very important to not just go for the same culprits, but make sure that we reach the grassroots, because that's very important. And I must say, it's very impressive to see that they received the funds beginning from January to March, and the report is between March and June. It can only get better. and to reach more than 17,000 people in the first round is encouraging. But also, if you look at, sorry, I just lost my train of thought. You can go ahead.
Okay, no problem. Hopefully you'll remember what you wanted to say. My next question was going to be, okay, you're satisfied, you've got the right partners, it's still early days, and you are making sure that what the funds are meant to address, they address that directly the victims of gender-based violence and femicide are benefiting, that the money gets to those it is meant to assist.
Yes, no, definitely. And we will keep monitoring that. Our executives are working very hard around that, but we also have a good implementing partner, Chikululu, that is experienced. I've just remembered what I wanted to share, that, you know, we get the information from SEPS that we have 30 hotspots, and through the research of the academics that we've partnered with, we know that there's 40, but it's so encouraging to know that 29 of those are recipients of the funding, and they could actually see impact already in the first 4 months. So back to your point, we are investing where it matters, where the need is greatest.
Okay, and just very briefly, going forward, I saw a report that says you've got some digital solutions in mind, but there are a few detractors, also people who are involved in the anti-GBV femicide drive in our country, who say that there are many parts of South Africa that don't have mobile networks, that won't be able to access apps that you might come up with in the future as the fund, and that also data is very expensive. How would you respond to that? And is digital really a solution for you going forward, or just one of the solutions you are proposing?
It's actually a multi-pronged approach when it comes to a problem this big and that has been with us for so long. One, two, yes, we've had quite a few companies present to us around digital solutions, but the question that we have for each one of them is that Dlamini in a rural area, will she be able to access, because it has to be accessible to all. Two, we are lucky to have partnerships with some of the big mobile companies who are actually funding some of the initiatives that we are looking at, including Tutuzela care centers that I always like mentioning because of the ones stop solution that they provide. So it would be a matter of negotiating zero rating data for that app that will be, or apps actually, that will be successful in assisting in curbing the scourge.
Okay, finally, just to let you know, I'm going to be interviewing the Methodist Church of Southern Africa just shortly. I have a guest with me in the studio. They've got a campaign that they are launching this Heritage Month with 24 September coming up, called Man to Man, tackling the deep taboo questions, because boys are brought up in very patriarchal society, as we know. But in an opinion piece that you wrote just a few weeks ago, which I read earlier, you say that we all need to be feminists. Just this last minute, what do you mean by that? How should I become a feminist?
Being a feminist is simple. The name, the title actually makes people look the other way. It simply says equal rights for everyone, all genders, and equal opportunity. That's all it's about. All we are asking is that if you are in power, and men tend to be in power, what are you doing to make sure that women in your organization have equal access, have equal pay, and have equal chance of promotion? We are simply saying, men and women, let's give women a chance to lead. Let's give them a chance to thrive. And also, call it out when you see it. If your friend is abusing her girlfriend, don't look the other way, because if you don't say anything, you're an accomplice. Each one of us has a duty to do something to prevent gender-based violence and femicide and help us eradicate it. We can't do it alone. Women don't abuse themselves. It's mostly men that do. So men, we need you.
Thank you very much, Dr. Judy Dlamini, for your time here. She's, of course, from the Gender-Based Violence and Femicide Response Fund. She is the chairperson. They've been making good progress in terms of dispersing funds that have been already gathered for the fight against gender-based violence. As I said to